Well, Dax the Axe Harwood, good old FTR Bald, had a special announcement that he was promoting for his podcast, FTR with Dax Harwood, the podcast that he does with Matt Kuhn. They did a special episode on anxiety this week where they kind of talked about how they deal with anxiety and the different types of ways that anxiety could manifest itself. They also talked a lot about all of the internet drama that they've been dealing with this week. All of the fucking hatred that's out there over this whole CM Punk Wembley Stadium match, gaslighting, all of this shit. All of it's getting dumped in Dax Harwood's lap. And so the special announcement that they had to make was that they're done. They're done with it. They're ending the podcast, at least for now. They did say that they enjoy doing the podcast. They enjoy each other. There's no beef there. That they absolutely are keeping the door open for the podcast to return, but not likely in the next 4 years because Dax Harwood has signed a 4-year contract. And the reason they are done with the podcast is because it's causing too much drama for an active wrestler to be in the locker room. It's causing trouble with the fans online, calling Dax's fucking daughter a whore. And it's causing trouble in the locker room with a bunch of little bitches that can't handle the fact that somebody might actually like CM Punk. But don't take it from me. Listen to this clip right here from Dax the Axe Harwood himself. Check out this clip.
God, wouldn't it be funny if this was just, man, how much would people hate us if this was just a giant work? Like, you know, hey, we're going to have a retirement podcast next week and the loser, you know, but we do have a serious announcement to make. Dax Harwood, would you like to make that announcement?
I guess so. So when we started this podcast, you know, we just wanted to do good for wrestling. I was looking forward to, and I still do, and I still did, looking forward to bringing my thoughts on psychology, in-ring action, what I thought was good wrestling, my love for Bret Hart, and break down some of the things that we had done in our career and some of our biggest moments. Never in a million years. I knew that we would probably ruffle a few feathers, and I think,
yeah, we were playing on some feather ruffling, but
yeah, and
bad, you know.
Being a detriment to wrestling fans, to coworkers, people who used to be my coworkers. Don't want that. People that I respect, people that I love. Like, dude, I got Cash so much heat for because I said CM Punk was my friend and I wanted to wrestle with him. I got Cash heat, and I don't want that. He doesn't deserve that. I don't deserve that. You know, Punk doesn't deserve that. No one deserves that. And it was all because of me. And so now I think the best course of action is to just stop the podcast. And I always said I wanted to leave wrestling, as cliche as it sounds, as like I always say, wanted to leave wrestling better than I found it. And I felt that Cash and I were on our way there. And I think this was a bump in the road. And I'm not saying I will never do this again because I loved it. I loved like this was something I looked forward to doing every day. Yeah. It took me away from real life. I was able to express my passion, my love, my gratuity, or gratitude to wrestling, and a way I'd never been able to. And now I can't do that. So it sucks, but it's something that I think it's a mature decision on both of our parts. And I think it's something we have to do.
I can't really think of anything on the podcast that's been said or done that was mean-spirited or even worth apologizing for, quite honestly.
Nope. The only thing I should apologize for is how the journalists and the news sites took a section of something I said and made it seem like I was such a bad human being. And I want to apologize to not only my fans. Oh God, I'm getting emotional. I don't want to just apologize to my fans. I want to apologize to the people who already didn't like me and fans of, for example, the Young Bucks and fans of Kenny Omega, fans of MJF or anybody else who I may have upset. I want to apologize to them because I never wanted you to hate me so much, that you would say some of the things you said to me. And going into this podcast, I never thought that would happen. And I hate that it happened. And again, like I told you earlier in the show, I thought I was way more mentally tough than I am, but I admit that I'm not. And I don't think that I can handle some of the things that are said. I also don't know if I want my daughter 10 years from now to read some of the things that are said about me.
I'm disappointed in the fans, those of you out there who had any part in this at all, especially whoever the motherfucker was is calling Dax's 9-year-old daughter a whore. Yeah, the fight like an 8-year-old girl fucking t-shirt. She just turned 9. Somebody called her a fucking whore. This is getting out of control. It's fun to troll a little bit on the internet. I'm there with you. Like, look, it's fun to bust balls and fuck with people a little bit. Happens to the best of them. I ran into it this week over this very news breaking. Somebody, a Facebook group had posted that, hey, the Dax fucking quit his podcast or whatever. And somebody in the comments was like, and I shouldn't give spotlight to anybody in the comments, but I'm going to anyway because it's part of the greater discussion here. Somebody in the comments was like, oh, no, is something to the effect of, oh, no more podcasts of burying everybody that you work with. So I chimed in because that's the narrative, right? That's what fucking the Buck fanboys would have you thinking. That Dax is just out here burying the Bucks every week and burying everybody in the locker room. These people don't even listen to the podcast. I cover the fucking show. I've covered it from the start all the way to the finish. And if you look back in my history, you'll see a shit ton of FTR clips because it's always newsworthy. It's a good show for that reason. And so I called him out on it. I was like, you don't even watch the fucking show. Name a specific example of Dax burying somebody he works with. I'll wait. Motherfucker came back with, he's like, oh yeah, there was this one episode where he was talking about your mom being a whore. I mean, I laugh. It's funny. I like that shit, but it proves my point. This motherfucker doesn't even listen to the show. He's just trolling. But what that does is that causes other people to troll or get their information. Somebody scrolling through, they see that, they're like, oh yeah, Dax just buries people on his podcast because people are dumb. They don't do their own research. They just absorb that shit. So then you got people like Brian Alvarez and fucking Meltzer this week going hard on, or last week into this week, going hard on Dax Harwood and FTR. And they're pushing that gaslighting narrative that they're pushing for this match that they know the Bucks don't want. And so when the Bucks inevitably decline the match, that it's going to make the Bucks look bad. So that's the gaslighting theory that's going on here. All of this shit is so fucking stupid. It's drama. And that's why Dax is like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm out of here. And he said that Tony Khan didn't push him to do this. Nobody else pushed him to do this. That this was his decision based on all of the shit that keeps getting stirred up over this fucking podcast. All the guy does is go on there and tell his truth. That's it. He doesn't bury anybody. I've never heard him once, but he hasn't even buried the Young Bucks. The closest he came to burying the Young Bucks was like when he was asked, like, how does he feel about the Young Bucks now? After he just got done sucking their dick and calling them one of the greatest tag teams of all time and would love to do a third match with them and enjoyed their program and looked forward to their program so much. Thought about it, lost sleep over it, had anxiety over it, wanted it to be the biggest match ever, and that's why he got into a beef with Tony Khan because it was just another match set up for the Young Bucks to have their feud with whoever the fuck else, Hangman or whatever at the time. And they said, you know what? I want to leave it up to interpretation. I don't want to give you the answer to how we get along with the Young Bucks right now because it'll fuck up the mystique if we have another match. It's good to have that little, ooh, don't they get along? So I'm not going to tell you. That's it. There was no burial of anybody. Zero burial of anybody. If he's asked specifically how he feels about a fucking match or something, he'll call out the match details. He'll say, well, this spot or whatever, this thing could have been put here. He doesn't bury anybody. This drama follows him because everybody's fucking obsessed with CM Punk. Everybody hates CM Punk. So in turn, because FTR Bald is friends with CM Punk, that now all of a sudden FTR Bald is raked into this whole fucking mess, and it's a drama in the locker room, and we got to separate the rosters and blah, blah, blah. You guys cost this fucking guy a podcast. It was a hit podcast, by the way. Great views. And you know what? You people fucking disappoint me too. And I shouldn't say you people because I got a lot of good listeners. So it's not all of you, but there are a handful of you that are these people in the comments that are like, good, fuck that show. It sucked anyway. Like, I saw so much hate for FTR Bald. I don't get why. Where is the beef for Dax Harwood? Why? What the fuck does the guy do that pisses you off so bad? He's literally nice about everybody. He doesn't go on his show and bury people. That's a false narrative. And he wasn't gaslighting the Young Bucks. He wasn't saying, we're ready for this match. We want it. This was his fantasy booking. It was brought up in the form of, if you had a magic fucking wand and could book Wembley Stadium any way that you wanted to, you can go back and listen to my clip from last week. It's right there. I covered it. Fantasy booking Wembley Stadium. Go look it up. FTR Dax is in the fucking thing talking about his fantasy booking of the triple threat or the 6-man match. All of a sudden, he's a fucking shit stirrer and a gaslighter, and you got Brandon fucking Cutler online going in on it. And the Young Bucks are pussies, by the way. I'm done with the Young Bucks. I'm over them. I was on the Young Bucks train for a while. I liked them. I respected them. I liked their book. I covered their book on here. Gave their book a good review. I like those kids, but they seem like fucking little bitches, don't they? They don't want to work with CM Punk. I see so many people out there, or FTR. I see all these people in the comments. Why would they want to? Because of the fucking money. They're pissing away money feuds because of their own ego. You don't think there's money to be made on an FTR Young Bucks 3 rubber match? How much it could have did, how good of business it could have did for the tag team titles when FTR was chasing, they were the belt collectors. They had them all. The story wrote itself. We have every belt that they can possibly win right now, WWE aside, because you got to be contracted to win a title over there. But WWE aside, they had every title they could possibly attain basically in the industry except for the AEW tag team titles. Who had the AEW tag team titles? Oh, I don't know. Their biggest fucking rival in the entire company. The ones who they have supposed beefs with. Heat brother. It writes itself. It's fucking print your money TV, man. Ratings, all of that shit. My heat kicked on during my rant. I forgot to shut my heat off. So if you hear a don't get mad at me. And now they're going to piss away this fucking opportunity when Punk comes back. Yeah, and use it as a negotiation tool if you want to. That's fine. This is a business. It's money. I'm not knocking that. I'm not saying you're obligated to. Make Tony make it worth it to you. But it should be worth it to you. Don't just fucking outright decline to work with any of these people. Like, this is like if Bret Hart came back and was able to work with Shawn Michaels. It's not to that extent, but it's similar. These opportunities are very rare in wrestling. To get a rivalry that has real life rooted shit in a real life that got leaked online or somehow can now become part of a storyline that blurs reality. And professional wrestling is always at its best when it blurs the lines of reality. When you don't know what's real and what's fake, where the work starts and in real life ends, the shoot brother. That's the fun of pro wrestling. And if you get a CM Punk return and he's out there doing his promo, and he's about to say sorry, or he's about to address the fucking all-out fucking brawl-out situation, and then all of a sudden you hear the fucking the Elite music hit, the whatever the fuck it is, the shit that they sampled. Money. The crowd would go ape shit, but the Bucks won't touch it because they're all a bunch of pussies. We don't want to work with him. We don't even want to be on the same show as him. Meh. Be an adult. This is a business. He works there, you work there, do business together. You don't got to like the guy. You don't got to be friends with the guy. You can even agree to throw real fucking live rounds out there. Physically or verbally. You know? Allow the Bucks to go out there and say what they really think about CM Punk. Let CM Punk say what he really thinks about the Bucks. Do what he did at the fucking media scrum. Just do it in the ring as part of a storyline where it can actually make the company money instead of bury the company. But they're not going to do it. Mark my words, they're not going to do it. They won't. We probably won't even see FTR versus the Young Bucks again, let alone the 6-man with FTR versus the Elite. That's where the money is. That's where the money's always been since CM Punk left, since this brawl-out bullshit situation happened. It's unfortunate that it happened, but you can't goddamn tell me that if Punk comes back, teams up with FTR, and works the Elite, and jumps right into a program with the Elite, that there's not fucking, that it's not going to pop a rating, that it's not going to pop a pay-per-view. It's not going to pop houses. That's going to do major fucking business. They can do business all summer into the fall with that shit. All in, all out, especially, even if it's just those two. You know, I had pitched last week that my fantasy match for All In would be Punk against MJF to finish that out. Not that I want to see Punk in the main event necessarily or win the title, not at all. But there's a built-in storyline that they can go there and do Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay. I don't know that you need to see Kenny versus CM Punk, but there's tons of money in it. And I think the 6-man is even more where the money is. But they'll never do it. I don't think they will. I'd be shocked if they did, and I'll be happy if they do. I'll eat my words right here on this show, and I'll be like, well, I'll be fucking damned. The Young Bucks agreed to do it. Of course, you got Chris Jericho stepping up. Oh, I'll work with CM Punk. Of course you are. You probably only said he was a goddamn locker room cancer so that you could step up and work with him when he comes back. Jericho's a fucking carny. Make no mistake about that. I like Chris Jericho. I'm a fan of Chris Jericho. He's one of my faves. I'm not knocking him. That's not a knock. It's a business. It's a carny business. You got to work. You got to work the system. You got to work the people. Chris Jericho worked the system. He maneuvered himself into a situation where he could be an option for when Punk comes back. And now knowing that the Elite's not going to want to work with Punk, Jericho can raise his hand and go, I'll work with him. I think we can work it out. Because you know that there's money in it. Like there would be with the Bucks and the Elite and Kenny and fucking all of them. You do fucking Dynamite matches with Nakazawa and fucking Cutler going against FTR and just getting stomped. Right? You put fucking Cutler in there with CM Punk and just do squash. You can do any kind of mix of all of this shit, you know? You can drag this out at least for the all in, all out week, but you could drag it out even longer than that if you really wanted to. That's assuming Punk's healthy enough to do multiple matches. Though a 6-man, come on, man. Get the hot tag at the end. You get a tag in to do the stare down with Kenny Omega. You know, Kenny gets tagged in and then fucking FTR hair tags in CM Punk. And then he does the slow step in and the crowd goes, ah, and you can kind of gauge what kind of money could be made in a singles match there as they just stare each other down and, you know, fucking jaw at each other from across the ring. That's how you do it. And then they tie it up and they tangle a little bit. Hopefully Punk doesn't twist his fucking kneecap there. And he can eventually tag out to FTR bald and, you know, and then Punk can stay out on the apron again until he's ready for the hot tag and can come in and fucking work the finishing sequence of the match. That's it. And then you get him to All Out and do a fucking one-on-one singles match with him. I wish that was the case. I wish it was. And I wish, we got kind of sidebarred by the potential of FTR and CM Punk working with the Young Bucks here. But that's the root of why Dax had to end this podcast, is him talking about this shit specifically. Last couple weeks, he has come back on the show and said he's gotten tons of heat for everything that he's said on the show. And what has he even said on the show? It's drama. It's drama bullshit. He is not saying anything bad about anybody. Him fantasy booking Wembley Stadium, people take that, oh, he's gaslighting us. He's trying to set us up to look bad. If they don't want the match, they're playing politics. They're playing games. They're trying to push us out. And you got Meltzer and fucking Alvarez helping push that narrative. If you needed any more fucking proof that Meltzer is in the pockets of the Young Bucks, maybe not literally, maybe not on the payroll, but him and the Young Bucks are fucking tight as tight can be. If it wasn't clear to you by the Meltzer driver, if it wasn't clear to you by how Meltzer talks about the Young Bucks, or how he talks about people that are opposed to the Young Bucks. You listen to anything Alvarez and Meltzer have said in the last week or two, and it's about this situation, and it's negative towards CM Punk and FTR. They are not biased or impartial, and their opinions are half-assed at best. They're coming from one side of the whole story, and then they are filling in the rest of the blanks with their opinions. They're educated opinions, but they're opinions, and it's clear as fucking day. So they're showing their cards worse than ever, and they're causing these problems. And then whoever's in the locker room that has a problem with Dax's podcast, get the fuck over yourself. Why would you? He's not burying anybody. He hasn't said anything bad. He's not like, oh, Will Hobbs fucking, his work's sloppy and fucking, I don't like the Butcher's fucking hair. He's bald. I'm the only bald guy that should be in a tag team. Like, he doesn't do that shit. I don't know. I just don't get it. Other than there's a clear line of your team Punk and FTR or your team Elite. And your allegiance lies with one or the other, and you're just going to fucking pick a side and beef. And it goes back to this divisive fucking nature that we're all in the world today. Professional wrestling as a microcosm, yeah, you got this elitist fucking, no pun intended, elitist back and forth side choosing between WWE and AEW. Oh, my side's good, my side's good. Oh, you don't tell stories. Oh, you don't have good wrestling. Oh, your boss is a mark. Your boss is Vince McMahon. He rapes girls. Like, it never ends. It's always meh in the comments, back and forth. It drives me fucking nuts. And it's even, you can niche your way even down further into AEW. Now there's Team Elite and there's Team Punk. Oh, I like CM Punk. He's a dick. He's a cancer. Where'd you get that word from? CM Punk's a cancer. Where'd you get that from? People talking on the internet. Look, man, this whole thing has gotten really stupid. I think the internet has a lot to do with it. I think the overly sensitive dramatization of people's feelings these days are adding to it. Dax has not picked any fights or said anything that should hurt anybody's feelings. People are just strictly upset because he has taken a side with CM Punk. And I shouldn't even say that. He didn't take their side like fuck the Bucks. They're just planting their I'm friends with CM Punk. He's a good friend of mine. He misses wrestling. He likes wrestling. I would like to work with him again. I think there would be great money if we worked with the Young Bucks. What is wrong with that? It's a fact. It's true. But no, you go online and you call his fucking daughter a whore, tell him to go kill himself, to retire, hopes they loses their jobs, are fat, fucking bald and ugly, shitty wrestlers, boring. You're allowed to have your opinions and you're allowed to express your opinions. But I don't think it's a stretch to say that the fucking marks on the internet that pick a side and they think they're cool by have pushed this man out of the podcast business for now. The douchebags backstage in the AEW locker room that can't handle Dax Harwood having a podcast and just talking what he thinks. He didn't say anything bad about any of you motherfuckers. In fact, I've heard a lot of great things about a lot of you motherfuckers. You don't like CM Punk, so you don't like Dax talking about CM Punk or wanting to make amends. The Elite is going out of their way to keep this all friends wrestling, and everybody else can fuck off. You are a friend or you can fuck off. And we're going to make life very difficult for you. That's a problem. It's a big fucking problem. And now we've lost the Dax Harwood FTR podcast. And it's a shame. As a guy that covers pro wrestling podcasts, I really liked that one. It was a good one. It was honest. There's always news coming out of it because Dax didn't bite his tongue. But there was no drama. Maybe with fucking Road Dogg, which he freely admitted on his show. But I just shame on you guys. Shame on the internet. You guys can do better. Don't go at somebody to the point that they want to go kill themselves, all right? Guys got mental health issues. You can't do that shit. You can't call his daughter a whore. Like, what is your problem? Why? Just so you can go, he, I showed him. I'm so cool. I got 3 likes on that comment. Fuck Dax. I hurt his feelings. Okay, good for you. That's cool. Good for you. You're a fucking idiot. But that's all I got to say about this. Ranted on it good and hard. The end of the Dax Harwood FTR podcast, at least for now, due to drama, and a bunch of sensitive little fucking pussies. That's my take. Maybe I got it wrong. I don't know. I've only listened to every single episode. I've only covered it from the beginning. I've only done multiple clips about it here on the show. But what the fuck do I know? You know, maybe I missed the episode where he buried the entire AEW locker room and caused a shit ton of problems that made it very clear that this man should not have a microphone anymore. I must have missed that because everybody in the comments seems to have that opinion, but can't back it up with any actual fucking proof that it happened.
Let me tell you something, brother. You can check out full episodes each and every Sunday right here on this channel, dude. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to take your vitamins and say your prayers, brother.